Welcome to NARPM Radio, your source for property management practices and ideas to help your career, delivered to fit your busy schedule. NARPM Radio. Get tuned in.
You go over to a rental unit, the door's lock is broken, the electricity is off, you go inside, there's no one to be found, the unit is screaming abandonment. You ask a next door neighbor if they've seen the tenant. They say no. You take possession. Is this proper? My name is Harry Heist, and I'm the founding partner of Heist, Weiss & Wolk, the property manager's partner. Abandonment is a legal term. It's not what we think it might be. A unit could look abandoned, feel abandoned, smell abandoned, but under the law, it's not abandoned. Let's explore abandonment in depth so we know that a unit truly is abandoned before we take possession. There are three ways to get possession of a rental unit: surrender, abandonment, and eviction. If the tenant has not surrendered the unit to you, but is nowhere to be found, then we have to decide whether the tenant has abandoned the unit. Now, many property managers think that because it looks abandoned, it must be abandoned. For instance, there's some common misconceptions. If the electricity is off, then it's abandoned. If there's no toothbrush in the bathroom, then it's abandoned. If there's no clothes, then it's abandoned. These are misconceptions. These are fallacies. These are myths. They are not true. Abandonment is a legal term that means that the tenant and no one else has been living in that unit for 15 solid days and the rent is unpaid. Now, 15 days is a long time, and you need to prove that the tenant has, in fact, not been in there for 15 days. So how do you do that? Well, a lot of property managers know a little trick. You take a matchbook or a piece of cardboard and you stick it up between the door and the door jamb, and you need to go back and check the unit over and over and over to make sure that they're not coming in at night, they're not sleeping there, that they truly have abandoned the unit. Don't rely upon the standard things that make you feel that the unit is abandoned. I've evicted many people for living without electricity. So not having electricity certainly is evidence that somebody may have abandoned, but it's not solid proof. Places look disgusting sometimes. They look like that no one would ever dream of living in a particular rental unit, but they are living in there. It's meaningless. What the next door neighbor tells you that about not having seen the tenant for a couple weeks, that's meaningless. Make sure that you follow the law. Make sure that a unit truly is abandoned under the law before you take possession. The ramifications could be great. If you take possession of a unit and it turns out the tenant truly has not surrendered or abandoned the premises to you, the tenant could hold you responsible for anything that they claim was left in there. And they could charge you with civil theft, possibly even call the police and state that you burglarized their occupied property. So make sure that you truly have abandonment. Try not to jump the gun. Yes, there will be times when you have to make a judgment call. You'll decide, they probably are gone, there's really no evidence that they're there, and you're going to make a judgment call. But be very careful, because if they're not abandoned, if they have not abandoned the premises and they come back, you could be in for a lot of trouble. Don't let someone push you to taking possession early. Make sure that you do it when you feel it's right, when it's legal. If you have any questions regarding this or any other topics, please feel free to email us at info@evict.com.
Thanks for listening to NARPM Radio. For more details on today's subject, refer to the show notes or visit narpm.org, and we'll see you next time on NARPM Radio.